What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Commander deck tech. I can't believe I built this deck. This is definitely for lack of a better term, a commander out of my wheelhouse. I don't usually like to build overly popular commanders. I try to find some more like lesser known commanders or more obscure commander decks. But I got a crazy deal on Atraxa Grand Unifier, and well, here we are. So, those of you that don't know what Atraxa Grand Unifier is or does, um, is a 7 mana Phyrexian Angel, flying, vigilance, death touch, lifelink, and whenever Atraxa Grand Unifier enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type among the revealed cards in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So, one of each card type. So, artifact, battles, creatures, enchantments, instant, sorceries, lands, planeswalkers, are all different card types. Now, this is not the most optimized version. This is not a CEDH one. So if you're looking for a CEDH Grand Unifier, this isn't it. This is one I play at my play group. I do have the physical deck built like always. I don't ever deck tech a deck that I didn't physically build or physically play, because I just feel like it's cheap if you do that. That's just me though. I like to play test what I'm actually uploading for you guys. But let me know down below what you guys think about this deck. Do you guys like Atraxa? Would you guys ever play Atraxa? Let me know down below what you guys think. Let's jump into this. And like I said, this is probably just the first build. I'm probably going to have a updated version in the next month or two here. We'll see how it goes. Right now, I've probably played about 15 or 18 games with it. I kind of like it. I do need some other cards to pull. So here, probably in the next month or two, we'll probably get some stuff. But let's jump into this. Like always, guys, link to the deck list down below. It'll bring you to Architect right here. The deck list will look like this, or fairly similar, depending if you're opening on your phone or not. And yeah, not a sponsor, just a great site. Has all the price sources if you want to build a deck yourself. So let's jump into this. I am not going to go over the lands like always, guys. It'll be in the deck list. But artifacts. First, we got your Azorius Signet, Commander Spear, Lightning Greaves, Orzhov Signet, Panharmonicon, because we want to double our ETB triggers. Okay, it's not just Atraxa's ETB. We got a couple of other creatures with ETBs that we want to double. Soul Ring, Thought Vessel, and Thran Temporal Gateway. Thran Temporal Gateway for right now in this deck is at best. You pay 4, you tap it, you put a historic permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Now, there is a handful of legendaries that are more than 4 mana in this deck. Obviously, Thran Temple Gateway gives you a discount on cards. There is one way to bounce a creature to hand, so sometimes you're bouncing Atraxa back to your hand, and you can play her with Thran Temple Gateway for 4, so it gets you a discount on Atraxa that way as well. So, like I said, I am probably going to do an edited version of this deck, so for right now, Thran Temple Gateway is probably like a 5 in this deck. But once I change the deck list around a little bit, it might be like a 7 or 8 in this deck, you know. So jumping into the creatures, we got Abuelo Ancestral Echo. It is a bounce effect. So flying in Ward 2, you pay 3, exile another target creature or artifact you control, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control during the beginning of the next end step. So multiple things can happen here. You can blink your Atraxa. You can blink one of your other creatures depending on the situation. Or if you're like my play group, every so often, I like to run Agent of Treachery in some decks. I also like to run like Domineering Will and stuff that steal opponents' creatures. So this is another way to get your creature back. Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, because if we're going to play extra creatures, might as well be able to tap them for mana sometimes. Our non-token creatures are forest, lands, in addition to their other types. Now, this also does some things with certain board wipes. Now, there are certain board wipes that destroy all non-land permanents. Ashaya turns all your creatures to lands, so then if they destroy all non-land permanents, you'll still have your board and they won't. Or if it says destroy target non-land permanent, like an individual like target removal, it's not the most popular thing. Generally, you're going to run destroy all creatures. It's not going to be destroy all non-land creatures. Or like Path to Exile or something. It's not going to be destroy target non-land permanent, generally. It's kind of a niche thing, but it's helpful. It is a big beater. Avacyn's Pilgrim, because I had one laying around. Figured why not I run it. Baleful Strix, 2-drop flying Death Touch. You draw a card. Calfee, Beloved of the Sea, gives our creatures pretty much Ward 1 in a sense. Our enchantments and creatures. Kolfnar, The Last You. This one, I don't know how I feel about him yet in this deck. So whenever this creature or another creature you control dies, return up to one other target creature card with lesser toughness from your graveyard to your hand. Now, this is a 7-drop. Atraxa is a 7-drop. Like, Elish Nord's a 7-drop. Ashaya is going to be pretty big. So some of your cheaper stuff, you might be able to get back with it. Like I said, right now, this is just kind of the way I'm playing the deck. I've played almost 20 games, and I enjoy the way it plays, which is important. If you're going to build a deck, you got to enjoy the way it plays. Dream Trawler gives us some extra draws. Elish Nord, Grand Cenobite, Elvish Mystic, Eternal Witness, Glissa Sunseeker, Ixhel, Scion of Atraxa. Add some Infect to the game, because why not? Juniper Order Ranger. When a creature comes into play under your control, put a +1/+1 counter and a +1/+1 counter on Juniper Order Ranger. I don't know if I love this card in here yet, but so far, it's okay. Kona, Rescue Beastie. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona is tapped, you can put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So another way to kind of cheat some of your other creatures into play, or like extra lands into play, or, you know, whatever you might need to put into play. Kutzel, because we don't want our opponents doing stuff on our turn. And that's the main reason this is in here. Like, I get it. There's definitely another card we can put in here, but like I said, for right now, we're mainly worried about that your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel. Atraxa is putting a lot of cards in our hand. So, Malcolm, if he deals damage to a player, put a chorus counter on it. Draw a card and discard a card. If there are 4 more cards, or 4 more chorus counters on Malcolm, you can cast a discarded card without paying its mana cost. So generally, you cast Atraxa, let's say, main phase 1. You attack with Malcolm. Malcolm already has 4 counters on it. You discard one of the powerful cards you took with Atraxa. Now you're playing that card for free. Merchant Raiders to tap some stuff down. Nyambe. When it enters battlefield, you return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, gain life to the equal to the creature's converted mana cost. So generally, you will bounce Atraxa with that. Ornithopter Paradise. Progenitor Mimic to make a copy of Atraxa. Reclamation Sage because you want to get rid of some stuff. Rune of the Hidden Realms to help blink some of your ETBs. Sakashima of 1,000 Faces to make copies of Atraxa. Siege Rhino. Siege Rhino, this is one of my favorite cards. One of my favorite creature cards. It's not the best. I'm not going to tell you it is. Not the best card. But one of my personal favorites, so I threw it in here. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. This with Panharmonicon, now each opponent is losing 6 and you're gaining 6. And then you just keep blinking it with Rune, or you make copies of it with Progenitor Mimic. Like, tons of great things to do with Siege Rhino. Solemn Simulacrum, Tatiova Benthic Druid, Tashar. Tashar is an interesting one here. So whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 targets for that to hit. So that's not bad. 13 targets for it to hit. My opinion, that's pretty good. Get yourself a little loop going. Venzer, Shaper Savant. Love this card. When it enters the battlefield, return target spell or permanent to its owner's hand. And Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. So we're going to double our mana, and we're going to slow our opponent's mana down. Not a great card. Walking Atlas, just so we can play some extra lands in the deck. Enchantments, we got Defense of the Heart. Probably one of the best cards to get out early. Okay, so at the beginning of your upkeep, if your opponent controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, and put those cards onto the battlefield and shuffle. So, every time I've gotten Defense of the Heart, I'm looking for the Vorinclex and the Elish Norn. Almost every time that I've gotten Defense of the Heart. Because Elish Norn is going to pump your stuff and kill a whole bunch of your opponent's weaker stuff. And Vorinclex is going to slow them down enough that you're just going to get so much ahead of them, it's not going to matter. Garruk's Uprising, when it enters the battlefield, you control a creature with 4 or greater power, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. And when a creature with 4 or greater power enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card. We're running Atraxa. Atraxa is a 7/7. A Shy is generally going to be bigger than a 4/4. Elish Norn. Vorinclex. Like, we got a handful of bigger ones. Kona here. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that you can draw off of. And I ran a little bit of a blink package, so you'll keep drawing some stuff. Instants in the deck, we got Abrupt Decay, Abzan Charm, Bluster Spite, shuffle our graveyard back in our library, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt that turn. Just kind of if you exhausted your resources and just still haven't won the game, which I haven't had that problem yet. But Brainstorm, Counterspell, Crop Rotation, Dark Ritual, because our commander is 7 mana, so we need to get 7 mana ASAP. Eureka Moment, Mythical Teachings to help get some of our instants out. Opt, Putrefy, and Village Rites. Now, I get it. Mystical Teachings, it's 4 mana to search for an instant or a card with flash. Okay. Most of the instants we're searching are less than that, but there's some situations where you might need it. You might just need to do that search. And, I get it. It doesn't seem that great, but in that moment, it might be. So, sorceries for deck. We got Blood in the Snow, Cultivate, Diabolic Tutor, Explore, Migration Path, Mystic Speculation, which is great with Atraxa because we're revealing 10. So, with Mystic Speculation, you can pay 3 essentially because you're paying the 1 blue and then 2 for the buyback, and you can scry 3. So you kind of get a little bit of control. You're not looking at the top 10, but it gives you a little bit of control on your top deck. Primal Growth, Rampant Growth, and Vindicate. Now, the deck could be a little bit better. It is going to get updated, guys. But that is the current list that I'm running for Atraxa Grand Unifier. Let me know down below what you guys think. If you guys have any suggestions, I am not a pro player. I've been playing Magic for almost 10 years now. Maybe a little bit more than that. But, I don't know all the cards out there. And there's new sets dropping all the time. Let me know what you guys think down below. All the socials are down below, along with the deck list. And I will see you guys in the next video.